Oh yeah, yeah. It's the digital models, right? It's climate change. By 2021, half of the world will be underwater, right? I mean that the digital models were completely off target, and that's what um, many things are built on. Um, okay, here's a story for you. Hitler's invisible armies, right? Hitler's invisible armies. Now, there's always fantasy before a collapse. There's always madness at the end. And at the end of the Second World War, Hitler was in his war room planning his strategies. And amongst the technology and the communications and the telephones and other things, you can imagine a very big table with a map of Europe, right? And with on the table, you can imagine like toy soldiers, that the army. You've seen the films, and they move the armies over here and over there, and yeah, they have these long sticks, and they plan their strategies, right? So Hitler was in his war room, moving his armies into the new positions,
Mm.
but he didn't have any soldiers there in real life. Yeah, there were no armies there because of the madness that captured the minds of these people by the end of the war, because the the generals were too afraid to tell Hitler that they didn't have the soldiers there. Hitler would just say, "Okay, move these soldiers there," and yes, sir, and, or whatever that is in German, Sieg Heil or whatever, and they, they would they would pretend that everything was real, and it wasn't, and there weren't these armies weren't there, and so they couldn't plan their strategies and they couldn't move forward. And also the other problem was that they'd killed so many of their own officers and so many of their own soldiers and so many of their own people that they didn't have anybody left to follow the orders. But it's symbolic of the madness that happens before a collapse. Fantasy leads to insanity, really. That's where it goes. Fantasy leads to insanity. And to a certain level, it's okay because fantasy is an extension of the human imagination, and you need to imagine solutions to problems. You need to be able to dream and think about things. But it's a complex argument. The argument that you can have too much of a good thing, right? Everything is okay within reason. Yeah. But if you start to look at how the real world actually functions, it functions based on chaos. Yeah, it functions based on chaos. How much rain is going to fall and where is it going to fall? Don't really know. How much snow is going to fall? How much sunshine are you going to get? When will the volcano explode? Right? I mean, there's a huge element of chaos within reality. You walk into a room full of people, and who will you meet? Who will you talk to? What will they say? There's a huge element of of chaos there, and society has attempted for a long period of time to organize the chaos, to put everything in order, to structure everything, to make sure that nothing happens that is not planned. But nature has a different way of doing things. There are asteroids flying through space. We're on a spinning planet. There are solar winds. There are nuclear reactions on the surface of the sun. And none of these things we have control over. In fact, these things, you could argue, control us. And if fantasy is tending to think that we can have control, full control, complete control over everyone and everything without there being some kind of problem. I mean, look at the human body. Everybody's body is different. You know, you can take one pill and get healthy. I can take the same pill and get sick. It is a world of natural diversity and great variety. And so when we try to standardize everything, when we try to micromanage everything, when we try to put everything in a box, when we try to have perfect order, it all fails in the end, because we always take it too far. We always take it too far. And it is a wise man who realizes that he or she, could be a wise woman, that is going, it's a wise person, let's say that realizes they're on the wrong road and stops and turns around and goes back. But that's also a very rare person. There are not many people like that who are prepared to say, oh, did I get that wrong? I'm sorry. Let me fix that for you. Yeah, which is one element that's missing from society. People love to break shit. I mean, shit being synonymous for anything, right? People love to break things, but they don't spend the same amount of time fixing things. You know, they they leave it and move on to something else. But fixing things matters. That's what is key to, I think, the long-term survivability of a company. Because when people talk about sustainability, what they are really talking about is surviving. Yeah, surviving through difficult situations. So this disconnect, the same as Hitler was so disconnected from his generals and his armies and his soldiers that neither understood each other. Communication problem is now visible in companies. Yeah. When governments get so far away from the people that they don't really understand what the people want, you get what is happening in Italy and Belgium and France right now, which doesn't appear on a lot of the news channels. Yeah, and it's the same in companies. Yeah, the people at the top. I respect people like Richard Branson, who appeared. He's the founder of Virgin, the company, and he always spends a certain amount of time every month with the employees at the bottom. And although that doesn't mean you're going to be able to solve all the problems, because that creates another set of problems as well. I mean, he's trying, right?